Good morning, and welcome to all our esteemed speakers and guests. May I offer you a very warm welcome to the 5th annual Riga StratCom Dialogue from Riga in Latvia. I'm absolutely delighted to say that the team here have put together a fantastic program of high-level speakers, government ministers, academics, policymakers and practitioners. But the most important contributors to the event taking place today and tomorrow are you, the members of our StratCom community. My name is Annie Gaizo, and I'm the Chief of the Operational Support Branch here at the NATO Strategic Communications Centre of Excellence. I'm delighted to say we've had over 1,200 registered participants, but just quickly a few housekeeping notices. If you're watching now on our YouTube or Facebook channel, hello. But please be aware you'll only be able to access a limited amount of content through the channels there. In order to make your voice heard, please register at rigastratcomdialogue.org. Registration will be open throughout today and tomorrow. And in order to send us your questions and comments, on which we really rely to make this a holistic and relevant event for everybody, you need to become a registered participant and use the chatback facility on the live stream. You'll also be able to access the full agenda and the bios of all of our speakers on the RSD website. I'd much prefer to be looking out onto an auditorium filled with your shining faces, looking forward to posing your challenging and intellectual questions. But unfortunately, the pandemic continues to affect us in personal and professional ways. So we need to continue abiding by the epidemiological ramifications and work in remote mode, continuing until it's safe to do so. Of course, we look forward with great anticipation to welcoming you all back here to Riga in the flesh for our next event. Don't worry, we'll roll over the catering budget. Now it gives me great pleasure to hand the floor over to the Director of the Strategic Communications Centre of Excellence, Mr. Jānis Sārts. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Annie. Dear friends, StratCom practitioners, StratCom people interested in strategic communications, StratCom researchers, policymakers, journalists, students, welcome to Riga StratCom Dialogue 2021. It's been a while since we've seen you in person. It's been a while since we've been able to welcome you to Riga. But we've all learned to adjust to this new world of pandemic and survive it. And of course, we are therefore bringing this event to you in an online format and hope that next time we will be putting together Riga StratCom Dialogue, we'll be back to the good old ways of having in-person conferences. And of course, I, in a way, misspoke good old ways and days. They might not come back in the way and form as we remember them. But certainly, we're still looking to the moment when we will be able to have this human-to-human interaction. And it's been a year since we had to cancel our previous planned and prepared StratCom Dialogue 2020, which was supposed to be our 50th year's anniversary of doing these conferences. So, in fact, this year we mark it with having an online conference. But unlike in our own personal lives, where many things have been frozen for almost a year, in strategic communications, it has been anything but frozen. Since that year when we had to cancel our StratCom Dialogue 2020, so many things have happened in this area and in this realm. Think of infodemia. Think of all the disinformation, both state-driven as well as misinformation by the individuals that has taken up the space and made the efforts to fight the pandemic and vaccinate people ever more difficult. Think on the way the technologies have really even more transformed the information environment. Think of a disinformation in a Zoom platform or in a WebEx. That was not something we would think about 2 years ago when we last had this conference. But right now, that is something that everybody has to think of. What is your information security in your next Zoom call, and how do you ensure that? And of course, also, we have made strong progress in putting up together new rules and standards, and debate on the rules and standards in the information space have really moved forward. And last but not least, we've really learned in these last 2 years that this infodemic, disinformation and misinformation is not just a nuisance that is difficult to handle. It is not only the national security threat, it is really a threat to the democracy itself as we know it. And if we don't act, democracy is the one that is in danger. So things have really changed in these 2 years, but one thing has not changed, and that's importance of strategic communication in this environment. It's importance of the strategic communication to the national security, and its importance of doing the right thing in the information space for the democracy and the future of democracy. All of those things we will be debating during these 2 days. Of course, we will probably not have all the answers necessary, but at least in this discussion we hope to generate a thought, an outcome or two that we can take away and work on in our all respective professional lives. And of course, the other element we are striving for is to enrich the debate on strategic communication, to make it more not only interesting, but also rich with different perspectives from policymakers, researchers, practitioners from across the globe. Because it's not only a NATO issue, it's not only an EU issue, it's not a European or transatlantic issue, it is a global issue. And as such, it has to be handled as best as we can. Because if not, many things that we hold dear will not be there. So I'm really looking forward to these 2 days, and with a keen eye also looking to the great discussions we'll have and the great questions and engagement from you as an audience. But first, let me introduce our first keynote speaker. As I've said, for StratCom area, 2 years has been a really fast-moving, and a lot of changes have happened. The same can be said about the EU, which I think in these last 2 years has really been raising awareness and understanding of the threats and challenges that are coming from the information environment. In particular, the work of the Commission and the Parliament has illustrated the new determination the European Union has to try to find the ways how to protect the core values of the EU and those values that hold us together, and to find the ways and mechanisms how to institutionally create rule-based system where democracy can strive and disinformation is not having the effect it has today. As our first speaker, we have Her Excellency Ms. Vera Jourova, who is Vice President of the European Commission for Values and Transparency, and in her current capacity she leads the EU work on democracy. Well, 5 years ago that would have been an interesting statement. There's an EU work on democracy within EU. But it's important that EU has been able to adjust, and Madame Jourova is handling this issue so very eloquently. Rule of law, disinformation and media pluralism are all the portfolios within her responsibility. Under her leadership, EU has adopted the European Democracy Action Plan. We are therefore very pleased to welcome Ms. Jourova with us today, and I hope to hear more from you on these challenges that we all face and the the ideas how European Union is tackling them.